So Mike's got this block jigged up into the honing device, and he's going to do the 220 pass on it right now, which is going to put that cross hatching into the cylinder bore right now. The tool up top there is driving a wedge into the honing device right here, and it's just putting pressure against that hone. So if he wants to open it up 3/1000ths, he can, and so it'll be opened up by hone 3/1000ths at a time.
So this is close to our finished size. I'm going to leave this here because as it cools, it'll shrink a half a thou or so.
How warm is that right now? Okay, yeah, so I mean, it's like, I don't know, 100 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, and then you see, compare the way that feels to the cylinder next to it, as far as roughness.
Oh yeah, that's a lot smoother. This is the initial cross hatching. Right. Is this also the final cross hatching?
Well, it will end up being, because as you use a coarse stone, there's a depth to the scratch. So what I'll do is I'll bring it just about the size with this, and then it'll shrink about a half a thou. And then I'll use the other stone to get it to the size I want, which will really not take the entire scratch out. It'll basically take the peaks off, leave the initial scratch off here. When the light flashes, it's at the bottom of the stroke.
Okay.
So in other words, it's going down, it goes up. So that's a little tighter. So down, when the light flashes, you're a little loose at the bottom. You're a little tight at the top.
And then what about the cricket?
Huh?
What about the cricket?
The cricket?
Yeah.
What,
yeah, what happens when the cricket makes a noise?
Oh. You see that dial right there?
Uh-huh.
That's got 1 on it.
Uh-huh.
So I got it set at 4. So every time it clicks out, 4 clicks.
Oh, okay.
So if I jump that up to 9,
it'll go 9 clicks.
9 clicks every time.
There's the machinist answer to the cricket noise.
Oh, no, I forgot what I meant.
You're gonna just open it up 1 more thousandths?
Yeah, and then I'll let it cool for about 15-20 minutes. Comes back to room temperature, and then I can come back with another stone, finish it up. So this is the point I determine exactly what size I'm going to make the cylinder. See, we're right about 0 there. Now you hear the noise it makes, the wiping noise? That's the thread.
Okay.
The initial noise it makes. And then as it kind of hones that thread off, you see the sound changes a little bit. Initially, when it starts honing, the cylinder is very rough. It's got all those peaks in it. Like I said, you cut a thread all the way down when you board it.
And now you're just making it smoother and smoother and smoother.
Take that peak off, and now you're getting down to a base metal.
You can hear the crosshatch being installed.
Yeah, it just gets a different sound.
Oh, that's cool. This is called a bore gauge, right. And the reason why it's a bore gauge is because he's running this tool down the entire bore of that cylinder, which is 5 inches or so, and he's checking the diameter from the bottom to the middle to the top, and then that way he knows how accurate and even he has the entire bore on this thing. So it's not a half a thou off on the bottom or a half thou bigger on the top or what have you.
The micrometer measures the outside of a cylindrical object.
Okay.
And basically this transfers this measurement to an inside measurement.
So that you'll measure like the piston with that?
Yeah, I use this to measure the piston. I could also set up the bore gauge with it and check the bore gauge. These two are compatible.
So he sets it up with this. This gives him the initial base measurement, and then now he knows when he sets it in there, if it's at 0, if he sets this to 99 millimeters and it falls on 0, then he knows that that's 99 millimeters. If it goes a thou plus over, then it knows he's 99 plus 1 or minus 1, however that thing is honing. Feel
that cylinder now. Just kind of remember how it feels. And we'll hone about a half thou out with the finer stone, because it comes off pretty quick when you're going from a rough surface to a finer surface.
Okay.
Now feel that, and you can actually compare it to the cylinder next to it.
Oh yeah. There was actually like a line that I was feeling before, and I can't feel that line anymore in there.
So there's the brushes, and now these aren't really going to remove any size. They're just going to
clean it.
Clean the surface off a little bit. And you really don't give them. You don't need to give them a lot of pressure. So I'll get them 8, 9, 10 strokes. Now you'll notice a big visual change.
Oh yeah, way smoother.
Feels a lot smoother, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you still feel it with your nail.
It's almost, yeah. I mean, you could barely feel it with your nail now, but it's
So
there.
you still have the depth of the scratch, which is going to provide you the oil control and the pumping you need. You have less friction because you've taken the metal that's going to break off as the engine starts operating, which, you know, it really only does it when the engine's new. You've taken that stuff out that's going to shear off and get into the oil, and, you know, it'll be in there till the first oil change.
So this is what they talk about when you're doing a pre-broken in cylinder,
Right.
compared to where you have to do cylinder break-in, compared to when you have to do piston ring break-in. So the piston rings still have to be broken in because those are going to be brand new, and they're going to be, you know, abrading the side of this cylinder wall, and there's only one way it can do that. It has to move up and down inside there. You can't pre-break that in, but you can pre-break the cylinder in by just basically grinding the metal away that the piston would have anyways during the break-in procedure.
It gets you closer to a good base metal finish, but takes away all the torn, folded metal and the peaks. The ring still has to conform to breaking in by a certain amount of friction process. That's the way it's designed to do.
After this whole process, and it's got new bearings, and the crankshaft is polished and balanced, and it's got the valve jobs, the valve guides, and all that, what's actually going to be breaking in on this engine?
Very little, actually. Modern engines don't have that much of a problem with break-in, because if the cylinders are done right, that's one of the major things right there. When you hear about break-in engines and break-in oils, the conventional thought should be with an American V8, a flat tappet engine. The flat tappet camshaft has to break in properly, and the tappet has to break in properly, and they have to mate together. Now, the big deal is they took all the stuff out of motor oil that allows that to really happen. The modern motor oils have all that removed because it's bad for the catalytic converters. But they don't really need it because you don't have that flat tappet camshaft anymore.